I don't think it's a secret, as I've said many times, I enjoy Sunset Shimmer. But there's one thing that I haven't been able to fully dispute, and that is her canon status. But I think I can finally put that argument to rest. Well, it looks like the Hoof Silver Hands crowd is in a precarious situation. One of their main staple points, besides just saying that EQG is bad because it's bad, is that the whole aspect of EQG isn't really canon to the main show, that being the animated series that airs on the Discovery Family routinely. However, because of some of the leaks that have happened, we get to see the finale just a little bit early. And within this finale, as I've tried to avoid watching it except for as much as I had to, there are certain scenes that would imply that Equestria Girls, that storyline, is indeed canon. Now, we've had other mentions from in the movie, specifically Friendship Games, in which Twilight mentions the events of that season's finale before it happens. But for that to be something that would be considered canon would kind of be misconstruing how it would work. You see, the movie can reference things that happen in the show, but that doesn't make it canon if the canon nature of the movie is already called into question. What has to happen is the show has to tell us or show us in some way that the events in the movie are canon to that universe. And that's what happened. You see, in this finale, there are scenes that happen where the main six are back in time and they witness the banishing of the sirens. Now, there are some plot holes here, but I'm going to first tell you why I believe this to be canon. You see, I believe this to be canon in the fact that we're witnessing the main villains of Rainbow Rocks be sentenced as they described in the movie. They said they were banished by Starswirl the Bearded to this world, and that Starswirl the Bearded banished them to a realm that would make them more like normal humans, powerless, despite that probably being something that would eventually strangle them to death because they weren't able to get enough magic to feed and sustain themselves. And because it was a major plot point, it was much more concrete than simply seeing Flash Sentry mentioned at the TV show. I've actually gotten into a little bit of an argument with other people about this because, you see, I see people use that as an argument that Flash Sentry was in the show, therefore the movies are canon. But for that, I would say that all the characters seem to have a pony and a human doppelganger, which means it would just make sense for Flash to exist in that world. It would actually be a little bit weirder if he just didn't exist at all. That being said, Flash wasn't a major plot point, but just another existing character. In this instance, we have someone from the pony world coming over into the human world and then being the major villain in that world. You see, there's not another person, there's not another siren group in Equestria. They were sent from the pony world to the movie saga. Now, I mentioned there were some plot holes, and the main one, besides the whole finale not really making a lot of continuity-wise sense, is that while they are being banished, we don't know to where they are being banished. And I can admit that we don't know for 100% certainty that they were banished to the human world. However, we never see a scene of them being in what is called limbo. We never see a scene in which they are ever shown again, in fact. And if you're going to go ahead and be honest with yourself, intellectually honest that is, then you would also be able to admit that there is a high possibility that because of the similarities between these two events of the same series and the same brand, that it would make sense that this is depicting the sirens being banished to the human world. You see, there's a hardline stance between the comics and the show that has been explicitly stated by writers for the purpose of protecting the comics' integrity. You see, the comics wish to do different things that would not be deemed acceptable to be done in the show. And so to protect themselves, they simply say nothing in the comics is canon until the show says that it is. And this allows them to get away with a lot more complex and deep, thought-provoking storylines. At least that's what I'm told most often. If you take this into consideration, then you realize that there's actually not the same predicament between the movies and the show. And to create such a barrier doesn't make much sense. I'm obviously biased here though, And I think we can all agree on that. I may try to be as objective as possible, but it's pretty hard when I'm battling for the canon status of my own waifu. But I've given you guys all the examples that I've had, and I've given you guys some of the counter arguments. Let me know what you guys think down below. Does this really mean that Sunset Shimmer is canon? Does this mean that the other world exists? And would it be a bad thing if it is canon? As always guys, I've been Faith and Moliminous. I thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Peace to them out.